Oh, hello there, my little chicken McNuggets. Welcome to my podcast. This is the Colorado Comedy Cast. That little hum you hear in the background is my heater. I'm being warmed from behind by a delightful little broken heater that starts to melt the extension cord that it's plugged into every once in a while. So eventually I'll probably burn to death in a fire because of it. But you know what? For right now, it's really comfortable. It's really nice. So I got new microphones. So this episode hopefully should sound a little better, which will be pretty cool. On this episode, I have the lovely, I think I use that descriptor too often. I have the wonderful, the genius, the entertaining, interesting, many other positive attributes and adjectives and adverbs probably. I don't really know my parts of speech. Direct objects, maybe indirect objects. There's gonna be so much, guys. Verbs, past tenses, present tenses, maybe even a future past perfect. I don't. I'm gonna just take a break and blow my nose. Hold on a minute. I apologize for this. Yeah, too much. I have these sleep all night contacts, and I should probably change them more than every 3 months. I think you're supposed to change them every, I don't know, 2 weeks, 1 month. But they're really expensive, so I just kind of roll with it. And I'm guessing between that and allergies and actually having a cold, I'm going to blame that on my nose blowing, and which you might notice in the episode because the mics are good now and they can pick up the constant nose blowing. So sorry about that. Anyway, the guy who's on the podcast is Eric Zeis. He's a dude. He does comedy. He used to do stand-up out in L.A. I met him through a Craigslist ad that said something along the lines of, "Hey, Jack, I want to buy some pudding packs." And I had a lot of pudding packs for sale. They were 50 cents each at King Soopers Markdown, so I bought like hundreds of them. This part is actually kind of not a joke. I do have like 30 pudding packs under my desk, and I eat like one every 2 weeks. But I got them all on super discount, and pudding packs last forever. Anyway, the point is, I met Eric on Craigslist because he advertised about an improv group. And then I joined the improv group, and then we did improv, and I still know him now, and that's the story. And so, that's holy crap, that's a long intro. Okay, bye. We'll get to the actual start. Okay, bye. All right, hello, welcome, bros and lady bros to call. Yeah, that's my new intro. Changing the intro every time, and that's the best one ever. Welcome to Colorado Comedy Cast. This is Zach Harris, and I have in the studio, which is a room in my basement with creepy spider walls.
Mm-hmm. It does have spider walls in my
the walls in this room, in case you haven't seen my room, which
might be like a small portion of you.
The room, we bought this house to remodel it, and the walls in the library are literally woven hardwood.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, seriously, it was, I didn't expect it when I parked my car at the valet and took the elevator up. It was an interesting sight to see your house.
No, well, these are classy hardwood weave.
Yeah. No, it's true. No, I like this room actually.
Yeah,
it's very nice.
It's very nice. So Eric is. I sounded like I was going to talk to you there, and then I was like, Eric is.
Come on, make this awkward.
I'm going to make this awkward. So what are you?
What am I? I'm a human man.
Okay, that's fine. That's
fantastic. For starters.
Good.
Made up of the same stardust as you.
Oh, how beautiful.
Yeah. How deep are we going with this?
We're going as deep as you want. This podcast is about talking to comedians and whatever the hell you want to say.
Hey, right on. I am. My name is Eric. And,
hi, Eric. Welcome to my basement.
Thanks.
So Eric,
like that is just the most loaded question you could possibly ask someone to begin with.
That,
legitimately, I'm like, do I start with how what my father was like? Like, how do I? Well, I mean, my first memory was.
Oh, what's your first memory? That's a good question.
Oh man, getting in trouble for sure.
Okay, how?
Yeah. honestly, I think my first memory was seriously maybe in like pre-kindergarten, like pre-K, doing like a musical and getting in trouble for like, screwing around during the musical. And I'm 90% sure it was at a YMCA. But I mean, I think it was like an early childhood education thing. I remember that, and I remember my entire family being there, and like extended family, and everybody was just like, this is the start of something terrible, They're just like, oh, God,
Your first memory is show business.
Wow, yeah, I guess so, yeah.
That's pretty impressive. My first memory, I was like 1.5 years old, and I was being held on the laps, being passed back and forth on the laps of 2 hot college girls. This is what I remember.
I'm sorry, like last week a dream you had, or is this like a first memory?
My first memory.
Okay.
And they were passing me back, talking about how cute I was and all this, and then I pooped in my pants. I had a diaper, so my first memory is women and shame.
Wow, that is so deep and telling of, wow.
Explains a lot.
I before you said the pooping in the pants thing, I was like, this is like what a weekend I want. You know what I mean? Like, I was like being tossed around college girls. Actually, it was a combination of a weekend I'd want and this weekend I had. I got food poisoning on Saturday.
Did you really?
Yes, legitimately.
How'd that happen?
I don't know. I don't want to say names, but it was either a place that rhymes with Schneiders or a place that rhymes with Schmexis Schmodehouse.
Okay.
And
I like how all the rhymes have Schm in the name.
Schm's a Jewish thing. I don't know.
Are you Jewish? That's question number 2.
I have a Jewish tattoo, and I heard that's what makes you Jewish.
Yeah. It's
either like if your mother's private parts are Jewish or you have a Jewish tattoo.
Wait, so your mother had... Okay, we're not going into...
Well, if your mother's a Jew, you're a Jew.
Yeah, I know that, but I thought we were going into like the whole circumcision thing. But I was like, that'd get weird with women. But no, let's just skip. We'll cut this.
Yeah, we're gonna edit out the private parts thing. Where were we?
So anyway, what's it all about, man?
What's it all about? What?
What's life about?
Were we talking about food poisoning?
Oh, food poisoning. Okay, yeah, sure, that's good.
I can't remember where we were.
You were at Schmex's Schmodehouse.
Yes, and let me tell you something. At least that I can remember, I haven't been that sick if not like my entire life, but for years. I mean, it was terrible. Yeah, I can't. I definitely understand why a significant amount of people legitimately die from food poisoning every year. So. Did
you get like seafood?
No, I didn't. I don't want to say exactly what I had, but it rhymes with smash tomatoes, and you can't really say smashed potatoes with a schmidt in front of it.
Smashed potatoes.
She was a schmore. Dang it, it's a schmore. I had like, a little bit of food at Texas Roadhouse and Neaters. But the thing is I had 2 dinners that night, which I don't really want to admit. So I'm not really sure which one. I mean, I picked up Neaters on my way home from work, and then I just said
Did you leave? Schmieders.
Schmieders.
Did you leave anything out in the car?
No. I consume food right away. I have a problem.
Good. Wait, you have a problem?
I've
got a problem with food consumption in my belly.
This wasn't like I had, a pastry and then had dinner afterwards. Yeah. Like I had a sandwich, soup, a smoothie, a side of bread, and then I went to Texas Roadhouse and had a steak, like mashed potatoes and green beans. I was miserable to begin with, but I'm not sure.
Are you eating away your pain?
I've been doing that for quite some time. Yes, it's a terrible, terrible thing. Thank you. This has been real fun. Bye.
Slam! I probably should have actually slammed the door instead of just going slam.
You should have, but some of these tiles might fall and the spider people will take us over.
Spiders!
Now, let me explain this to you.
Okay.
I mean, he did a good job of explaining it, but it is legitimately woven like better quality, like, what is that, like backboard type of stuff. But there are legitimate holes and cracks in it that are a good 1/4 to 1/2 inch thick, where it's just darkness. Yeah. Like, there's probably people living in there. I don't think, it's literally, I just feel like people are staring at me through these holes. I mean, it's...
Yeah, we were talking earlier before we got on air. Fancy. Before we got on air, we were talking about how apparently if you are selling a house, you legally have to disclose that it is haunted, it's haunted.
Which, there was a legitimate, like, court case that you had to, like, that they ruled, that, like, the person selling the house had to release that information, disclose that information. I don't know what the court case was, but I legitimately was selling a house. Right now? I'm going to look it up, honestly.
Yeah, he brought his laptop because this is a prepared man. He brought his laptop. He brought his little wireless mouse.
He had both my dinners. I just...
He's got both his dinners and both of his organic rock stars.
Yes, sir.
Green energy drink.
Yes. It's the only ones I can do that don't get me super anxious. So it's known as the Ghostbusters ruling. Okay?
Oh, that is the best.
Stambovsky versus Ackley in 1991. So in this case, the New York Supreme Court upheld that this house, which the owner had previously advertised to the public as being haunted by ghosts, was legally haunted for the purpose of an action for rescission brought on, blah, 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 blah. So legitimately, this person had to...
Whoa.
So, yeah, like, you legitimately have to, I believe, I don't know if this is just in New York or, like, nationwide, but you have to release that information. I don't know where that line is.
Yeah, like who proves that the house is haunted?
Yeah, I mean, it could just be, like, especially in Colorado, it'd be really messed up, because, like, you'd be selling your house and get, like, super high one night and, like, totally be like, okay, my fridge was closed when I went to bed, and legitimately somebody came and ate all my food while, you probably woke up and did it playing video games.
Yeah. You could have a house next to Gold Camp Road, like the old stage Gold Camp Road. Yeah. Like, every day I wake up and there's little flower fingerprints on the outside of my house.
So we're legitimately wondering if, honestly, there was a certain number of spiders... or spider people that lived in your walls that you'd have to, like, release that information, disclose that information, be like, by the way, this is a very spacious backyard, and, you have a little garden over there. By the way, there's 336,000 spiders in my walls. Like,
I counted them each individually. Yeah. I named them all Frank.
The estimate, yeah. Very friendly.
But super friendly. I mean, they rock me to sleep at night. They just, climb back and forth in little waves. And I'm just like,
Yeah, I don't know, but anyway, that's very interesting.
So comedy stuff, like you do.
What is this podcast about?
Yeah, this podcast is literally about this. Yeah. So it's basically
Excuse me.
Colorado Comedy Cast. I talk to comedians from Colorado, and that's pretty much it. That's the format. So we're succeeding right now. We're succeeding.
Good.
But I would like to. Okay, so what all comedy have you done? What do you do? Like, what's your deal, man?
So that's what you wanted to know, that question. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. My comedy background, I started doing comedy, well, apparently my first memory was doing something goofy, but, I always was kind of that class clown. I had a very interesting situation when I was a sophomore in high school. A English teacher of mine, which, by the way, is a very weird thing, but a lot of, like, when people talk about teachers that change their life,
it's a lot of English
teachers. Yeah,
I wonder if that's because,
they're very passionate people.
Yeah, they're very passionate people,
for sure.
But you don't have to really teach that much about declensions. You can mostly just talk about stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Like in English class.
Well, this English teacher, his name was Mr. Tack. Amazing guy. Just awesome. Matter of fact, like, my buddy Joe and I one day in class were talking about how cool his t-shirt he had on was, and it was like Mick Stalin t-shirt, and it was like a McDonald's logo with like the, hammer and sickle and whatnot. And finally he was just like, for the love of God, like, you want this t-shirt so bad? And he took off his t-shirt and gave it to Joe, my buddy Joe, and taught the rest of the class shirtless. This like hairy man taught the rest of the class shirtless. But anyway,
I'm imagining that he looks like Danny DeVito.
No, he was actually a very handsome guy. His wife was very good looking. He was in a band called Josh Hardy and the Garden Party. And my buddy Joe and I would go see his band all the time, but the only way we would is if his wife was going to be there. Well, his fiance at the time. Girlfriend. I don't know. But, so we'd always ask, like, hey, is Stacy going to be there? And he'd be like, yeah. And we'd be like, well, then we're there. If she's not, we're not going, But no, anyway, so there was pretty early on in my sophomore year, I was, screw around in class, that kind of thing. I had no sense of like timing or any sort of when it was appropriate.
You were just kind of saying stuff,
which most class clowns that are unsuccessful class clowns, have no concept of that. So he took me out in the hall and he basically was like, I don't know what kind of say on here, but he said, listen, I used to be a little, S word like you when I was a kid, and here's the thing: I appreciate you. I do appreciate your humor. but what you need to learn is timing.
Yeah.
Okay? And I was like, okay. But he took it a step further, and he said, for the next week in class, I want you to do nothing but sit in the corner. Do not say a word. You don't have to do homework assignments. You don't have to do anything. Sit in the corner and observe. And just take the pieces out of the, like, when an appropriate time to make a joke would be.
Yeah.
So legitimately, I didn't do the homework assignments that week. None of that stuff. I sat in the classroom and studied the class and was like, that would have been an appropriate time, or holy crap. Normally, I would have said something there. That would have been really inappropriate.
Oh, it's just getting the wide angle.
Legitimately, I learned timing. He taught me timing.
That's amazing. They say you can't teach that, but that's obviously you can.
You know, or at least he gave me the tools to teach myself.
Yeah.
So then, you know, shortly after that, I got involved in improv in high school, and we luckily had an amazing improv program at my high school. Where I met a lot of lifelong friends and whatnot, and it was a huge release for me.
That's cool. I didn't know you did improv first. I thought you were stand-up first.
No, definitely improv first.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was a massive release for me. I mean, like, I'm talking my grades improved, my social life improved, my family life improved, everything in my life improved. It was this outlet for me that was just, I never could have imagined before, you know. So, I got involved in that.
And this was where?
In Fargo, North Dakota.
Fargo, North Dakota. That's right. I always forget that. I always think of you as from LA, but I forget that you were.
No, is that how I come off?
Well, I mean, you know, when I met you, you were selling yourself.
You're pompous ass, is what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, I wasn't gonna say that. I was gonna mention like the extreme tan. I was like,
I had an extreme tan.
I'm just making stuff.
Oh man, see, no, I was gonna reminisce.
Oh yeah, that time you had a wonderful.
Did I have hair?
You had hair. It was wavy. It was red. Your muscle. It was dyed red because you were
it's one of your dreams again. Red. You were like
you were like a redhead. And you were a woman for some reason, and you were very tanned.
So how was that acid trip for you?
I have thankfully never taken acid. I was at a party once, and I saw a guy who apparently had taken acid, and he's kind of flopping around on the ground, like talking about like weird stuff, and I was like, I don't want to do this.
No, I don't want to. I've never done anything like that because I'm afraid with the super like mind altering. Well, especially like acid and, you know, LSD and things like that. Well, acid,
LSD
your blood
and acid
is trickling down your spine, causing you to hallucinate. Is that right? I think
I don't remember.
But I never want to do those mind altering things like that because I don't think I'd ever come back.
There's actually people who never come back.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think I would.
Scary.
I think I would just be off forever.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like, okay, we're already kind of like off to other people normally. Like, I think you and I both say things just in normal day-to-day conversation that other people would only say if they were high. Like, I actually had a friend who was, he told my mom, he's like, he heard some stories about me and my brothers, and he's like, Miss Harris, I took drugs, and high, I didn't do nearly as stupid things as your kids did sober.
I just can't believe how, like, and I think it's definitely an improv background too, but I say things, like, before my brain can even possibly register. I don't know. I mean, I definitely have to be very aware of, like, a filter, especially, like, you know, jobs and stuff like that. Like, even on the way here, when I picked up these organic rock stars, I walked into 7-Eleven, and the guy was like, hi there, you know, and I just went, hey. It was just like way too long, you know, and I don't know this guy, I don't know anything in there, so legitimately some guy just walked into 7-Eleven, and the guy was like, hi, and I just went, hey, you know, and immediately was like, damn it, you know, they're just like, oh man, you know, what was that, you know, but, yeah, so I don't know, all over the place.
Okay, so improv in high school.
Yeah, so improv in high school, like I said, it was just a huge release for me. You know, I definitely got into it very hardcore, and it was such a cool, close-knit group of people. And like I said, the program.
Yeah, the camaraderie in improv is totally different than you get elsewhere.
Well, and then I graduated and started doing improv with a professional improv troupe. Like, legitimately hired me.
Is that the Linebenders?
The Linebenders, yeah. And that was, you know, it's been around for a while, and that they do so many shows still to this day. I mean, back then we did a ton of shows.
Was it Budweiser or Coors?
They had a contract with Budweiser where they did all their like corporate training and stuff, you know. But I remember they didn't do nearly this many shows when I was with them, but you know, for just a couple years ago when we were doing the 719ers thing here and stuff, and one of the things where I talked to my buddy JJ who took over that group, they were averaging one show every 3 days.
That's nice.
Which is it's incredible, and most of those shows were corporate gigs and things like that, which paid good. I mean, legitimately, one of my buddies that did it, was doing it and made like $20,000 in like 9 months of like doing, just off of
just
doing
off
these
of improv.
So they're extremely good at, like,
and that's not the leader. He was probably getting way more.
Oh yeah. But they also did, like one year they did a year. They called it the year to volunteer, and every penny of their profits they donated. It was like $100,000.
That's cool.
Yeah, so they've done some really cool things. But it was a great group to be involved in.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was such a wide variety. We had, our youngest member was at that time was like me. I was like 18 years old.
Yeah.
And our oldest member was probably, in his late 50s, early 60s. And, but that was awesome.
How many people were there?
Oh, man. I mean, it fluctuated, but I'd say the solid core of people was, 6 to 8.
Okay. Yeah. Normal improv group size.
Yeah. So, and it was kind of,
was that your only job, or were you working part-time on the side?
At that time, I mean, like for certain periods of time, sure,
Yeah.
But, I started going to school, and then I was working part-time at like an Applebee's.
Do you have a degree?
Do I? Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that for some reason. Oh, yeah, I know that. Never mind. I know what your degree is in.
But
comparative religion, right?
No. Political science.
Political
science?
science?
Minor in
okay.
Yeah, and almost international relations, but whatever.
And then I also minored in computer science. I had a minor in modern dance.
Spider people.
Second major in spider people.
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know.
There's actually 3 colleges in the world that I've found that actually have a comedy degree, like performing comedic arts bachelors.
That sounds like a scam. So these online universities, no, legitimately, all you have to do is pay them $30,000 and they ship you a degree.
Yeah. You have to ship in your organs first, like.
Well, they have a lot of. I just heard.
I think Columbia has one.
Yeah, there's some. I mean, there's like writing things, and you specialize in like comedic writing and stuff.
Yeah, well, there Second City, I just found out, has an online writing course. I've been planning on taking that this summer.
An online one?
They have 19 different ones online. So like,
I took a writing or a sketch writing course in the Second City.
That's cool. How
was it? I was in Chicago for like 9 months and did Second City and some improv and stuff. Oh man, 2006 maybe.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
how was it?
I was. Awesome. My buddy, actually, JJ, who took over the Line Benders thing, was really good friends with like Sharna.
Oh, dude.
And met Del Close several times and stuff like that. So
what did you think of Del? The story's true.
I drank a lot since those days. No, I mean, I don't know. I don't remember having a legit conversation with him. But yeah. But no, I mean, it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was a very cool environment for sure. So
I always thought that you were kind of moving to improv because you told me that one story about like how you didn't like the Groundlings, and I always thought like that was your first improv.
Yeah, I didn't
experience.
like the Groundlings because I got kicked out of the Groundlings.
Yeah.
So with my buddy
going to bring
actually,
up your secret
who
shade.
now is pretty decently famous and successful, and we were just. Back to the class. I guess I didn't learn my lesson back in sophomore year because we got kicked out. I mean, it was kind of, bullcrap, but it was, they hadn't even started taking roll call before they kicked us out, but it was because we were kind of goofing around, and it's like, you gotta understand. I mean, the guy had something up his butt. It was,
just a bad day.
Yeah, and so many of those people out there.
How long have you done improv?
Well, since I was 15, 16, since I was 16.
So like on and off, or like almost on, or most of the time?
Most of the time, honestly. Yeah, most of the time. I mean, even in like LA when I was doing primarily stand-up, I did, guest spots with, my roommate, my buddies, improv troupe and things like that, and and always a good portion of my stand-up was improv.
Yeah,
so, I mean, it was, and always a part of it. But that's always been my base, where I've come from is improv. So I don't know where you get your information, sir, but you need to do a little research before you plug your show.
I'm getting my information from our years of friendship.
Yeah. That's, apparently it's been solid.
Yeah, it's been good. I
lies that I told you.
Well, you never told me that. You just always kind of talked about stand-up, and you never talked about improv before. Like, for
Really?
whatever reason, I don't remember you ever talking about, like, I didn't know you went to Chicago. I didn't know. By the way, Eric was the leader of an improv group I was a member of. So we were founding, well, he was the founder, and I was the founding member of the 7 One-Liners.
Those are the days, man.
Yeah, those were good.
Yeah, you know, actually, like, Crystal and I have been texting recently, and we haven't talked in a long time, but about trying to get everybody to get together again.
That'd be cool.
And, yeah,
even the guy who moved to Seattle to become a strip club announcer.
Holy crap, I remember him. What was his name, Tim?
Tim, I think, yeah.
Tim.
That was so weird.
Yeah, he legitimately one day was like, yeah, I mean, I've got a career opportunity.
I gotta quit the job.
Moving to Seattle, so I'm gonna have to leave the troupe. And we're like, that's great. What's, and he's like, an announcer in a strip club. Like, legitimately, like, a career. I didn't know that was a career opportunity. Yeah. You used to have a very good memory, Zach. So that questions my own reality, because you're sitting there telling me these things like, you've never said this, or you did this, and you have such a good memory that I'm legitimately like, did I ever go to high school? Like, I don't know.
Is your entire life a dream? Brought on by the fight of the spider people?
Yeah, holy moly.
This is all, by the way, still your food poisoning trip. You're still just...
Oh, man, it's a possibility. I mean, excuse me, I am coughing a decent amount, but...
I think it's allergies.
No, honestly, I'm allergic to spiders and people. So spider people are...
And food poisoning.
And I'm allergic to food poisoning. I think I weaken my immune system enough to where I've caught something else.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That makes sense.
Touche, Schneiders, or Schneckschus Merlevaus. You really got me. Double time.
My brother just caught a weird respiratory infection from people coming back from Mexico.
Seriously?
Well, yeah, it was like a week ago, so he's probably fine. You're probably not. You're probably fine. Just
no. I mean, I'm not worried about dying from Mexi AIDS or whatever it is, but I don't know. That's weird. Some respiratory thing just from Mexico.
So I've decided this is probably.
I'm
100% sure someone else has come up with this joke, but now I've decided to call all diseases from Mexico Mexicants.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that's not good.
Well, I'm just glad. I'm just glad you said something like that, because my Mexa AIDS comment, I really started to think like, wow, is that like racist or like?
No, it's
I don't know if I should have said that, and so I'm glad that you said that. But
I just slapped my thigh actually kind of hard. It hurt.
Oh man, how do you, without keeping some sort of outline, keep on track with these shows? I have no idea where we are.
I just talk about crap. We're not supposed to be anywhere.
No,
I have good. 12 questions written down just in case, in case we get lost. I will read one of those questions right now. You don't have to answer it if you don't want to, but
oh boy.
Who do you think would win in a fight between Batman and the ghost of Leslie Nielsen?
Oh man. I would probably still go with Batman, but there's a side of me that thinks Leslie Nielsen.
Incorporeal.
Oh wait, what kind of powers are we talking about when he's a ghost here?
He's a ghost. He's like such a ghost that you have to legally say that he's in your house. So
then probably Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
I mean, because Batman's already kind of an emotional mess, and he's already got so many things going on in his head. Leslie Nielsen just mess with him, and until he just,
until his head explodes. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Leslie Nielsen's mother's name isn't Martha, so they're screwed.
Yeah, well, and he could. I mean, yeah.
That's a Batman versus Superman joke.
Oh no, I got you.
Okay,
Which, by the way, that I've seen that movie. Obviously, you have as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I sum up that movie for you really
quick? Spoilers. Here's where we insert the spoiler song. No, I'm just kidding. We're not actually insert. But anyway, carry on.
You know what?
But we could insert one.
Well, yeah. Let's. We'll work on that. Let me summarize that movie for you. So. It's like an hour and 15 minutes building up of these people hating each other and wanting to kill each other. And then there was legitimately the scene where they look at each other and say like, yo, you got the same Nikes on as I do. Did we just become best friends?
We did!
Let's go do karate in the garage. And I was like, what is this, Step Brothers? Like, seriously, it was pretty insane the amount of build-up they had towards it to where it was just like, dude, you never told me you like dinosaurs. I like dinosaurs too. Let's go play dinosaurs.
Yeah, we're best friends.
We're best friends now.
And also, the third person's now in the movie too. So
yeah,
ta-da! I mean, it was cool. My brother watched it first, and he warned me. He said, if you think a lot, you won't like this. If you think this is a comic book, but a kind of dumb one, and everything's about looking at the frame of the the image in the frame, then it's actually pretty good. So I enjoyed it. because I was just going, cool! Ah, she just did that! Wah!
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I've always said that too about people. I think so many people go into movies with way too many preconceived notions and all this kind of, whereas sometimes it's like, just go for how movies were invented anyway, about just enjoying yourself. Just go and enjoy it. And so, like, I enjoy it. I'm not going to, go buy it. You know what I mean? But, you can go and enjoy something without, having to look into everything and being like, well, especially, I mean... It's
not like... So, I guess art, like, you read books and you think, every book written in the 1800s was amazing, but that's because you're ignoring all of their, dime novels that were just pure trash.
Sure.
90% of everything's crap, and that 90% that's crap doesn't survive. So we're just getting their best stuff. So it's like a little dime store novel, like Buffalo Bill, Wild West book, but those were still great.
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah, no, I definitely think sometimes people just ignore the whole idea that it's entertainment.
Yeah.
Like, just be entertained.
Yeah.
Relax.
So, how did improv entertain you? When you were growing up in South Dakota, in the line benders? Yeah.
First of all, North Dakota.
Segue!
Damn screwing up my life.
Fargo in
Fargo's in North Dakota. Zach, I'm telling you, do some research here, all right?
So then you moved to South Virginia, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Well, maybe I did.
I actually did live in... No, I lived in regular Virginia.
Wow. Yeah. So now I get exactly what your brother's saying. Or was it your brother or a friend?
My friend. Yeah. Shout out to... If you're not listening to this, you're a jerk.
Done drugs and nowhere near the stuff that comes out of your...
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I lived in Virginia.
Oh, I probably should have brought up that. Shout out to no one.
Yeah, good point. You just called somebody out. They're going to get a misdemeanor.
I think people know that he... By drugs I meant weed, and by doing drugs I meant not when he was younger.
If you haven't Insta-posted yourself with some drugs in your hands lately, just let you know.
Okay, so anyway, moving on.
Yeah, God. No, I mean, I don't know. Like, improv was a huge, huge part of me. I mean, like I said, after high school, did that for a little while. Then I actually, went to Chicago with my buddy JJ, who had lived there, and stayed with him for like 9 months, did some of that stuff. And then came back to Fargo, did a little more line bender stuff, and then I moved to LA.
How old were you when you moved to LA?
20.
20? Oh, you were 20 when you moved to LA. Wow.
Yep. I drove there. I gave my friends and family like a 3-day notice. I was like, hey, by the way, packed up my car, went out there. I met my roommate the day I drove into town.
Wow.
I drove straight to his work.
Did you meet him at Schneiders?
No, I didn't think. Actually, Schneiders.com. It's a roommate's site.
By the way, swapmeet.com, I thought that was an eBay knockoff. I looked at their motto, and it's, the king and queen of transsexual dating sites.
What?
No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, oh my God. You see, you trickster, you had me. So I was like, okay, Swapmeet. Swapmeets are very interesting.
Oh, I was just...
You never been?
I've never been to...
You never been? They don't have them out here, do they?
I don't even... I assume that's like a...
No, it's like a full-on, like, weird garage sale type...
Oh, okay. Little... I thought you were...
No.
I thought you were getting weird. You had a weird expression.
See, don't do a joke without looking at the background.
Okay. No, I know what a swap meet is. Okay. A swap meet's a garage sale, like but you can trade stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's like a community garage sale. Okay, so
I thought this was
okay. So yeah.
So I met my roommate driving into town. I literally drove to work, met him. And yeah, I mean, I went out there with the intention of doing comedy and whatnot, and did stand up out there, and not nearly as much as I would have liked to, but did a decent amount. And
well, you were on Comedy Central.
Yeah, I mean, they took a Shorties Watching Shorties. They took a clip of one of my bits for that.
Shorties Watching Shorties.
Yeah, you remember that?
I don't know that.
That was when they did the cartoon shorts. Two stand-up comedians jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I mean, that was cool, and I did a opener I did an opening set for Lavelle Crawford. You know who that is?
No, I don't.
He's the guy that was in Breaking Bad. He was the big black guy.
I haven't seen Breaking Bad. I know. It just...
Well, no, I mean, but that wasn't aired or anything. But I did a couple things with it, and did a VH1 pilot. It was kind of like a Best Week Ever style show. And, didn't get on, but I mean, it was super fun doing.
So were you hosting that?
I was one of the like guests. You know, they had different comedians on and you know, comment on stuff and whatnot.
That's actually one of the things I wanted to talk to you about. I want to hear some stories of behind the scenes on TV dating shows, because you were.
Oh man, you know, and this is the thing with those two previously said things. A majority of people that have like seen anything that I've like had on television is like MTV dating shows. It's terrible. I'm not kidding you. Like. You know, weren't you
the wacky guest, the wacky one on like 7 different shows or something?
So one of the ones was, and this is actually with my roommate at the time, and it's super funny because if you look it up, you know, this my roommate who set me up on
Blind Date,
the blind date show. Is that what it's called? What is it called? Jeez, what is it called?
You were on like all of them.
What is that? What was that dating show that I was on? Good Lord, seriously, what is
Pull
wrong
up your
with me?
LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's on there. Well, my roommate who set me up on it is now one of the you know buddies that I have that's you know pretty successful and
he's got a show on FX or NBC. Oh, NBC.
Yeah, Undateable.
Oh, nice.
Funny dating show.
Yeah.
Disaster Date. That's what.
Disaster Date. Yes. Yep.
So legitimately the one time I was legit on the show. And was legitimately set up, and I didn't have an idea that I was being set up, and I'm ashamed of it because there's so many little flags that should have set me off. Was that show, and he legitimately set me up, and it was very.
So
very
tell us
weird.
that story.
Oh man. Okay, so my roommate. Long story short, we did a stand-up show together at the Ha Ha Cafe, and then when we got home or whatever, he was talking to a group of people afterwards or whatever, and a couple of good-looking chicks and stuff, and so he, I'm sorry, ladies, and he was saying that one of the girls that he was talking to or whatever was asking about me or whatever. And she was, you know, really attractive or whatever. And so he's like, oh, I'll set you guys up on a blind date. I was like, okay, that's weird, but whatever. And so he's like, would you do that? And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. So he said, okay. And then he like said, okay, Tuesday or whatever, she's going to pick you up for lunch. And I was like, well, I can just meet her.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, her dad owns a limousine company, and so she's gonna have a limo pick you up. And I was like, that's weird. But I did not think for a second like you're setting me up on something. But you know, first I was like, that's just weird. But whatever, it's LA. You know what I mean? I mean, it's
this
so weird.
happens.
If somebody owned like you know some horse riding company, they'd probably send a horse to pick you up. Who knows? So anyway. Limo picks me up and I go to this like date, this little coffee shop thing or whatever, and you know this was just a nightmare. You know, this girl when she came in was just because what they do is they ask the person setting you up, you know, everything you know hate or loathe about the opposite sex or on dates, you know. So legitimately, this guy's like, okay, he told him, you know, like, all right, here we go. So he hates cats. He, you know, hates loud and obnoxious girls. He, you know, hates when they do this on a date. He hates when, you know, they blah, blah, blah. So she knew every button to push, you know, and so like, you know, at some points I'm just like holding on to the table, like I am going to freak out, you know. I mean, like to the point she was just loud, obnoxious, rude to other people. Yeah, there was a point where like she, there was a girl who had her like there was a girl and a guy sitting at a two or like well it was like 3 tables because it was against the wall. Or 3 chairs. It was against the wall at a table, and so her purse was on the like chair on the end, and then they were on these. And
these are all actors, by the way.
Yes. So they're all actors, and they did a great job. You know, like honestly, because like usually I think I would have an eye for that kind of thing. You know, I mean. Legitimately, the only point before like I really knew something was up was I was like, there has to be like, is there a microphone in this table? Because somebody has to be recording this. It's that crazy.
You said that to her out loud.
I said, yeah, I think I did. You know, and so her friend showed up. You know, and was super loud and obnoxious too. And then she came over and was like, hey, are you using this chair? And without waiting for an answer, smacked the other girl's purse off the chair. The like person that you know was by themselves that weren't you know not the girl I was with. And I was like, whoa, you know, line crossed. And they didn't air this. They just made it me, of course, edit it and cut it. Made me out to be this, like, little, you know.
You didn't look that. You didn't come off that bad.
Well, what really happened when she did that, I immediately was like, no, excuse me. I don't know who you are, you know. But one, you're going to pick up that purse and apologize to her. You know, I was like, what the hell are you doing, you know? And so she's like, oh, well, I'm sorry. And then she like sat down and I was like, no, pick up her purse. And I legitimately was mad and like made her pick up that purse. You know, I was like, you guys, you know. So then of course I'm like, I gotta go to work. I gotta get out of here and all this kind of stuff and blah, blah. Long story short, and then my roommate comes out and I was just like, you jerk, you know. But yeah, that was the legitimate time I was actually set up. But I did a couple of things where, because some of the people they kind of intermix actors and stuff in there to kind of,
so things
throw
like
it off.
Eliminate and all those
Yeah, well,
shows.
when you see like Next and stuff, I was on a couple times, and like, you know, so when you see, you know, like the one guy who, you know, they're like, okay, why should my daughter date you or something, and they're like, you know, because I can balance a pool ball on my head while, you know, swimming in a jacuzzi full of ants. You know, like those really like way out there weird people. Odds are they're probably the actors that they're thrown in to like make it more entertaining or whatever. So, you know, so they were like, you know, and they kind of coach you through stuff. So, you know, one or whatever, they were sometimes, I remember one, something got brought up about my nose or whatever, and they're like, okay, no, but bigger, do it bigger, you know, and like, do a thing with your fingers to make your nose look bigger, and, you know, so I was like, legitimately on national television going, my gosh, you know, like making some weird, you know, and I was just like, what is my life? Like, what is it coming to? But there's some very interesting.
You're a character actor for bad dating shows.
I mean, it's just
entertainingly bad, good bad.
Yeah, I don't know, you know, I don't know, worse doing that or like being like the career background midget and like the daily soap opera. I don't know. I'm just saying it's like the weird.
Is this a position? Professional background midget.
Yeah, I know a guy, but yeah,
you do. I'm not sure if I never know when you're joking or not. Do you actually
I do know
a guy?
He's a comedian.
Oh,
pretty funny.
Oh, okay.
Is that what we're talking about?
No, I mean I thought you knew a guy who was like a professional background midget.
No, but I do know a
weird.
couple soap opera people. Well, I know one did like some guest stuff, but one of them, a guy I went to high school with, his mother, who was like non-existent for his like life growing up because she was out in LA being a soap opera star.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was pretty interesting. Very, very nice person. I mean, we got together a couple times when I was out in LA, but very nice. But yeah, it was one of those things where she's like, "We're gonna be back in Fargo. Say hi to my son for me." So and I was like, "Why don't you say hi to your own son?" You know?
That was maybe a phone call. Yeah. I go out long distance.
Mm-hmm.
Back in those days before free long
there's
distance.
only so many calls you can make on the set during. You know. But,
so did she just like abandon her family to go to LA?
You know, that's kind of what it seems like to me, honestly. And it's like legitimately growing up, like she wasn't there, you know, because she was trying to make it.
Were they still like married or?
No, I don't think so. I think
that's
but
better.
I think maybe that was part of the reason.
Yeah.
Maybe she.
I was just like, okay, we're married, and
sorry, this isn't working. I'm gonna abandon you and my kid and our kids so I can go be a soap opera star.
Who loves soap operas?
Who?
Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg apparently absolutely loves soap operas to the point where I forget which one is his favorite, but he was actually on it a couple times.
Oh yeah. And isn't it Snoop Lion now?
I thought he switched back, but I never know. I mean,
yeah, that seems
anything
like
Rasta involved, you probably can just assume it's temporal.
What do you think it's like watching a soap opera like super high? Because you know he's probably super high.
I don't know. I've never been super high really.
Gotta be just. I mean, I guess those would be kind of the over the top. Like you'd be like, oh my gosh.
That's actually a good point.
Like, why did she cheat on him with the horse? You know, like.
Oh my God, that's his twin brother.
Yeah, oh my gosh, this is terrible. He died of left butt cheek cancer. You know, like all right.
The rarely heard of left butt cheek cancer.
Yeah, no, it's got an uncle, man. I really don't want to talk about it, so thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah, I was going to talk about right butt cheek cancer, but you brought it up.
No, that's fine. That's totally different. It reacts. Totally it attacks your body completely different.
Yeah. You die, but I mean, like you don't die in pain.
Yeah, no. You die laughing.
Yeah,
the right cheek one. The left one, it's terrifying.
Trying to write a joke about the pseudo-bulbar effect.
Yeah. I hope you pull that off. I really do.
Yeah. I actually wrote it down. It was something along the lines of, they say laughter is the best medicine, except for pseudo-bulbar effect. And then it was like, okay, none of you laughed, but when you get home, you're going to laugh possibly more than you're comfortable with.
Right, exactly. When you go home and Google that, or like when they pick up their phones.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Let me Google that. Oh, man.
So you got into comedy through improv in high school, and give me the arc of your comedic life.
Like the peak?
Or whatever.
I mean,
Fill in the blanks.
I mean, so I was out in LA and doing, stand up and stuff, and it's an amazing thing doing comedy out there. I mean, you can legitimately do. I mean, realistically, if you wanted to do 5 nights a week, you could do comedy easily. I mean, there's comedy every night.
Could you get paid?
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
Well, you can for features and headliners and stuff, of course, but. Even like features and hosts and stuff, you get paid. Not not much, but
not
typical,
living
same around here, like probably about the same. But yeah, no, it's definitely and there's a certain aspect of people that take advantage of everyone trying to be comedians out there. There's a lot of bring your owns, which
I don't think those happen anymore. Do they?
Bring your owns?
I've heard they've faded
I don't think
away.
Around here, maybe. I've never heard of them around here in Denver. But, in LA, for sure. Okay. You bring your owns and you pick your spot based on how many people show up. And X amount of people have to show up, otherwise you don't get on. And, I understand their side of it and stuff, but at the same time, I don't like that concept of doing it. But, so there's definitely that side of it, but at the same time, you can't substitute the idea that you could go do not an open mic, but and that's the thing, you don't have to do open mics like you do around here to get started. You can legitimately go and just be like, hey, I want to do a set, and odds are you're going to get on an actual show. Wow. So the best thing is when you're doing, I was in LA for 4 months and I'm doing a stand-up show, and there's Dave Chappelle or Chris Rock. Chris Rock, when I did the Comedy Store, not the Comedy Store,
the Ha Ha Hut?
No, it wasn't at the Ha Ha. Where was that? Was it at the Improv? Yeah, it was at the Improv. Anyway, so, that was seriously 4 months of being there, and I was doing, one of my first few stand-up sets out there. And,
wow.
And, Chris Rock was legitimately waiting for me to get off stage, So I was like, what? And then,
is that normal, or is that just
you? That's normal. I mean,
wait, so, I could just... tighten up a 10-minute bit or 10-minute set and just go out to LA and
I mean, there's a certain level of I mean, I definitely got on shows pretty quick, and I don't feel like there was that much of a credibility factor. I think it was just kind of hey, I'm going to do this. And if you were even reasonably okay, I feel that kind of work. I don't know. It was really weird. I'm trying to think of how. I mean, legitimately, I would some nights show up at one of the places I did the most was Ha Ha Cafe.
Yeah.
And they were great about that kind of thing. So I'd show up and even if you didn't know the host all that well, but I knew one of the hosts that did a lot of shows and stuff, and just hey, you got room for me, And if they're yeah, sure, you got 4 minutes or something, or 5 minutes or whatever. And so you go do these things, but they had guest spots constantly, almost every night of the week. It seems like some celebrity. I mean, I just off the top of my head, celebrities that did spots in the same stand-up shows I did. I mean, Wayne's brothers, like I said, Chris Rock, Dane Cook, Chris D'Elia at that time was just kind of coming up, but he did them a lot, just a ton, so it's that kind of feeling is great. And the audiences and stuff, it's a completely different experience out there, they don't know you from Adam, you know what I mean? You could be one of the best comedians they ever hear, or you could be terrible, who knows, but the audience doesn't have the expectation of oh man, I don't know how good these people are going to be. They don't know anything could happen, So many times a celebrity will show up and a big comedian and stuff. And so it's different. I mean, being able to perform in front of that same crowd is very...
Is that good or bad? Does it make it harder or easier?
It's great. Because it gives you some legitimacy. And a lot of times, honestly, if you listen to some people's stand up and comedy, if you don't know who they are, and or if you rather if you know that they're just a small local comedian or something, you've kind of got this mindset. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But if somebody a big comedian would do the exact same set, I guarantee you'd think it was that much funnier.
It was great,
you know what I mean?
And then this person's with the comedian, so they must be great.
And sometimes these people, a lot of times, would show up, do a guest set or a set, and then you go on after, because when they show up, they kind of make the room for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they go on and do a set, and then if you follow up Dane Cook, and it's your third stand-up show ever, that adds legitimacy. You know what I mean? So plus it's just that environment, that energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Going up after someone like that, even if it's
I love the improv energy. That's what I've had trouble with in stand-up, is the rooms don't have the same energy. In an improv show, the room is charged up and waiting for you, wanting you to succeed. And so it's just, it's like shooting fish in a barrel sometimes, which isn't saying you don't have to be good. It's just saying that a decent joke will get a big laugh.
Yeah.
You know,
I've wanted to do shows that like I would love to do I've always wanted to do like a late night show or something. I've always wanted to be a host of that, but rather the shows like I would love to do would be shows like some sort of Dan Rickles-esque sort of, you know, you bust out into a lounge song and then you walk out in the audience and interact with the audience, do some stand-up, some like an entertainment show, you know. But
me too.
That's why I had a very so, you know, speaking on the improv background, I would say in all of the stand-up I've ever done, per each show, I would say close to 70% of every stand-up gig I've ever done is improv.
Wow.
Is made up on the spot.
That's
with
that's
crowd
crazy.
interaction stuff. But at the same time, that's also hurt me. I've always thought that, and granted, it was a bit of naive and ignorant and of me because I was like, you know what? No, I don't want to be like everyone else. I don't want to like perfect a set and do the same jokes over and over again. And that did hurt me because everyone I know that's made it big, that's what they did. You know, that's what you do. I mean, you come up with a set and then you work on the jokes that work, you drop the jokes that don't. You keep doing them, you perfect them, you tweak them, blah, blah, blah. And then you get this great solid set and then you just go do it everywhere. And there are some people like, you know, that can do that. I've seen do the same set 30 times and it's hilarious every time, you know. But at the same time, I had that mindset where I was like, nobody wants to hear the same thing. Well, actually, some people do. Plus, out in LA, you're getting a different crowd every time, you know. But I always had that where I was like, I want it to be a different show. I never want to do the same stand-up set ever.
I have that problem too. I like write all this stuff and I come up with good jokes and I'm like, I've done them 3 times. I need to stop.
And I think I still need to find a balance between that because I think improv is a huge aspect of stand-up. Yeah, and I think I think there's some people that can go and do their written stuff and not any crowd interaction and be great. Absolutely. Yeah. But for the most part, some of the best comedians or at least the ones that I like the most, you know, have great crowd work. Yeah. You know, Robin Williams in his cocaine 80s days. It's insane. The guy legitimately would tell one joke and then go off on a tangent, and to the point that he's just done an hour-long show and told one joke that he wanted to. And the rest was crowd interaction. Really? It's insane. Yeah, and it's fantastic.
I know on his CDs they're actual bits.
Sure, but if you want, go look up some of his like actual club work and stuff.
I've never seen his club work.
Go off and legitimately he's talking about, you know, this guy going to the bathroom and then all of a sudden it leads to him doing Shakespeare, like, you know, commentary on everything and then he's singing and all this kind of stuff. And pretty soon it's like a 40-minute long show and he told one joke.
That's amazing.
Yeah, you know, but so I mean there's definitely a balance there, but I love the crowd work. Yeah. I'll go up and that's what I've always loved about it, but there definitely has to be a balance because
that's what you did even in improv. You mostly kind of emceed it and did semi crowd work.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's what I think. They want to be involved. I just think there's a difference between people. They could go home and watch a funny comedy movie, or they could go watch stand up on TV. But if you're
it's usually better just because those are the ones, you know, they've done them for 10 to 20 years and that's their 10th year. They've said the jokes. And
but at the same time, I've been to more.
You're not interacting.
Yeah. And I've been to more live comedy shows that have been better than, to me, you know, pre-recorded ones on DVD because it's the energy and you're a part of it and stuff. So, you know, but you have to have a little bit of that crowd interaction. Otherwise, it just seems like you're watching a play, you know? Yeah. And granted, that has its own energy and blah, blah, blah as well. I mean, I love theater. But yeah. So, I mean, it's interesting. And do I have a formula for that? Absolutely not. I have no idea.
I've been trying to figure out, like, what the...
Excuse me.
What it is, but there's something that happens in a room when it gets going where everyone is like rooting for everyone else. Like I've been trying to figure out how to create that. Like when we did my Improvisaurus shows, I would do kind of make sure to talk to everyone and kind of just be friendly and hang out with them beforehand and, you know, just be really pleasant and try to keep the room either really warm or really cold. Like I prefer warmer. Like you have to keep the room dark. Like there's just a number of things like people want to be able to laugh
like that. And that's like where for example, I've wanted to, and actually to be honest with you, I met with my real estate agent yesterday, looking at a venue. I've always wanted to open a venue here.
Yeah.
That I can make work for entertainment in general, but you know, even some music and stuff like that, but mainly stand-up comedy, improv, stuff like that. Because there's a certain aspect of one of the other things in LA that was so amazing about doing shows was it didn't matter where you did a show. They had the spotlight, the lights. Yeah. They had a good stage and also music.
Yeah.
Huge.
Music is
Huge.
Transition stuff.
And
matters.
whether it was, sometimes I did music.
Yeah.
It kind of like another comedian that's there, it'd be like, hey, can you do the music? But having that music bring you up and taking you down is huge.
Yeah, yeah.
And you don't get that around here. I would love to produce an open mic, even if it's someone's first time doing stand-up. I want to bring that person up to music. I want to create that energy. That's what it's about, you know. And I really feel like those are like really important key things. So I'm still trying to do that because it's something I feel like doesn't really exist here. And you know, like coffee shop open mics and stuff. Those are great in their own right for sure, but what I experienced from my experience of being out in LA doing it is that if you create that environment, people can thrive. You can make people feel great too about themselves, and you can really, that can be the difference. I mean, if you go and like do a couple coffee shop shows and like feel like you bombed.
Yeah. I feel like I bombed even when I've measured the laughter and I'm getting like almost headliner level laughter, but I feel like I'm bombing because of the way the venue's set up.
That's what I'm saying. And it's not like a stuck up thing. I'm not saying like, no, I deserve a stage and above. That's not at all what I'm saying. Like, but if you go and do the same sets at a venue that has a spotlight and music bringing you up and stuff, even if you feel like you bombed, there's a certain legitimacy factor there too, which is always like, you know, this from doing improv. I've always wanted to I do corporate stuff and things like that because I always want to pay my improvisers. Yeah. Because I feel like people that are good at this, that have a talent for it, they should get paid for this kind of thing. I've always said that, you know, and I think that it's starting to come around more and more. But I think artists need to be paid for what they do because there are some amazingly talented people, and I don't think comedy's any different, you know. Yeah. But it's that legitimacy factor. If you get $20 for doing a show, that adds a different level. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're like a professional. Yeah. You know? And 99% of comedians never get paid ever. Exactly. Like $20 makes you like a 1%er in comedy. You're like a real comedian. Can you imagine doing a show and like you have 6 comedians and, you know, say like the people you have, you know, you pay your headliner X amount, your feature X amount, and then like, you know, you pay the other 4 people even like $20. Yeah. Like, imagine how that feels versus like going to LA and doing a bring your own, you know. But you know what I mean, like doing. But I guess like in LA, your goal isn't necessarily to do the stand up. Your goal is to get seen for a comedy show. Yeah, and I mean, there is a legitimate amount of people too that don't, you know, care about making it. I mean, it's like anywhere else, but you know, they're doing it for the enjoyment of it. Yeah. But then there's a whole different factor too, where like you can't afford in LA to. Which is really weird because you'd think in LA you'd have people that were like stuck up and be like, you know, you're not getting on my shows unless you do something for me or blah, blah, blah. You think you'd have that, but you don't really because everyone can know someone. Exactly. You can't afford to make assumptions and things like that. So it's different, but this is Robin Williams' cousin cities, and you never knew it. Exactly. And you see it in smaller cities where you do have that. You do have that where people are like, you know, you have to like buddy up with people or like, you know, do something for somebody to get on their show. And that's bullshit. Excuse my language, but you know what I mean? Beep. Sorry. You're fine. But, you know, so I really do want to at some point create a place, an atmosphere that is super welcoming to everybody and gives people that chance, you know? Yeah. I also want to, if I do those things, to have high quality video recording of everybody so important. With high quality audio. I'm talking like inline audio. I'm talking about mics setting up, recording audience laughter, and be able to provide that to them because that is huge having a video and stuff. So Griff Cold Iron. I've almost finished. I've listened to your first one and about 3/4 of your second. Oh, hey! Trying to finish on the way. Cool. See, I do my research. Okay. So let me just Did I stump you there with that? No. You were talking about that with him about the video aspect, and it is huge. It made a huge difference in his. Absolutely. Like just that one video got him booked at several clubs. Yeah, which has definitely been a kink in my journey with comedy as well. I mean, I had lots of videos, you know, from doing stuff out in LA, and most of the time you have to purchase them, which is not a big deal. I think that's fine if you're legitimately, you know, have it set up and you're doing the work for it, whatever. Like being able to purchase it. If you just set up the venue and you know, we'll ask $20 and we'll give you the video of your set. See, that's a good money making business, and $20 is cheap. To have. Well, and they give like for example the Ha Ha Cafe when I was doing it, it would $20 would get you, and they had one of the old school video cameras where they had the DVD burner in it, so it would burn the DVD and that was it. They don't have to do any editing or anything like that. And to a certain point, I'm like, well, you let me come here. You don't make me do a 2-drink minimum. I can come in and do a stand. You know what I mean? So I will help support that, and I'll get a video out of it by giving you $20. I don't care. What I would like to do with it is, if I was going to charge for it, would be like to do editing, put that awesome quality audio in it for them. You know, but even just providing that for them. But yeah, I mean, that is a huge thing. And for me, it was tough because I have a lot of videos out there, but for a long time, a gentleman that I met in Chicago when I was in Chicago, who I signed over rights to for my video and stuff because he was going to do editing and he was going to do a lot of the promotional work and put on social media and stuff like that for me. And that guy turned out to be not so great of a guy. So I lost basically, and to take him to court to fight that would have been way too expensive. So legitimately, I have like barely anything out there, you know? That was a mistake I made for sure, and I should have taken control of it myself. But yeah, it is huge, you know.
Do you think if you stayed out there, you would have broken through to being able to make it full time?
To be honest, especially where I'm at now, just kind of understanding things a little bit more, I do. I really do. It's not like a, you know, being full of myself thing at all. I just know, I'll tell you, out of a group of about a dozen guys that I did comedy with, I wrote sketches with, we did fun things together. Out of, say, 12 of those people, 11 of them are very successful now.
Wow.
You know, I mean, honestly, you know, for example, with my roommate who's pretty successful now, one of the things that got him on that show and his buddy who was a writer for that show was doing these sketches that I was actually doing with him at the time. So we were writing these sketches and stuff, and then when I left, this guy took over. And those are the guys that got, you know, on that show and stuff. So there's certain things where, and what I understand now, where you need to put in the work and the connections you need to make and stuff like that. I feel like, you know, I would have had a decent chance, you know. I didn't put as much effort in while I was out there as I should have. I kind of got a little caught up in the lifestyle as well. A little too much partying, a little too much dating.
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, you know, it's a wake-up call when, you know, your friends and family come together and buy you a life alert for your birthday. You know, that, you know, hey, maybe I should ease off on the drink. No, I'm just kidding. It didn't happen. But, you know, it might as well have. You know, that's part of the reason I left is I kind of needed a break from that. And there was a girl whom we won't speak of. But, you know, so, I mean, do I regret leaving? Absolutely. I really do. I mean, like people say, you know, you can't live your life with regrets and stuff, and I don't exactly buy that, but do I have regrets? Absolutely, and that is one of them. At the same time, what gets me through it is, you know, I do have a kid out here that I never would have had if I stayed there.
Yeah.
And you know, he's everything to me. So I mean, that's amazing. But like I said, I mean, I don't think honestly a week goes by that I don't legitimately spend a decent amount of time thinking about going back there or what would have happened if I didn't leave.
Could you start just working on stuff?
Yeah, sure. And that's the thing too, is I convinced myself that, you know, I can start getting back into stand-up because I really haven't done stand-up for quite a while. I mean, I focused on improv for a while and we were doing corporate things and stuff like that. And, you know,
how's that going, by the way,
great.
7 one-liners?
You know, we're busy right now, you know, in our own personal lives and stuff, so it's kind of been taking up. But we're planning on doing like a big audition thing again, and
kind of starting up.
Yeah, like if you remember, like those first auditions we had. I mean, we had like 70 some people at
that
like,
was
one
huge.
of the days of auditions. I mean, it's huge. So it was fantastic. But excuse me. But yeah, we're looking to do an audition thing and really get back into it. Like I said, I've been looking at some venues and stuff to open myself, but we're also looking for a really good, solid.
Well, you've been looking for venues
location.
for like 4 years, right?
Yeah, I mean,
how's
for
that
quite
going?
a while. It's tough. I mean, the thing is, you've either got to have a solid concept besides the entertainment, or a location to where you can be able to afford to do that. But the locations are usually terrible. Yeah. So, you know, granted, you know, you'd have to have the entertainment to bring people to there, but also, you know, I'm looking for a decent amount of business traffic. Otherwise, just to support the place. So, I mean, it's been an ongoing thing, but hopefully it happens. But yeah, I mean, so we're looking to really get back into it. I mean, we've been doing some things. You know, I was actually going to mention about you were saying something about with doing shows or something where about expectations. And we were talking about the movies, you know, about going into something just to be entertained and that kind of thing. I was going to tell you that, you know, a story about how what we discovered doing some of these corporate, like we started doing a lot of like training and workshops and stuff. So we go and do like, you know, communication in the workplace using like improv principles and
using
you know,
I have that book somewhere, the one
the
business improv secrets or whatever.
And so we would go and, you know, teach these things and then bring people up and do these improv exercises and whatnot. And honestly, the like two most successful corporate like training shows that we did were ones that the people that were attending these didn't know it was comedy. So what we did is we had these companies pitch it as just training, communication in the workplace.
That's so good.
Training.
Yeah.
And then we'd show up and they don't expect a comedy and killed it.
Yeah.
Because they weren't expecting that. They didn't have those preconceived notions. You know what I'm saying? So
they were just happy that this isn't as horrible. They were expecting this is going to be horrible. This is going to be horrible.
Honestly, it was amazing. Like these people just loved it, and we killed it. And I can guarantee a huge part of that was because we didn't pitch it as a comedy show.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting thing. But yeah. So we did some of those, and those were super fun and whatnot. So. But yeah, we definitely need to get back in there. Like I said, we've kind of had all these different personal things going on, and I've got a kid and all this other stuff, and so. But we're definitely looking to do a big revamp and get back in it because we need it in our lives. I need it in my life.
It's been revamped this is the 4th iteration almost?
You know what? I don't like your tone. No, I mean, to a certain point. I mean, we've tried to, but we haven't put the effort in as much as we should. So. We're really looking to do, we did auditions and stuff a couple times. We didn't advertise for them like we did the first time. So we're looking to kind of really go into it again. But what I really want is, a good solid venue to do a public show at.
That's so important.
It's huge. Keep
the
doing
venue
show
actually, like the one we were talking about earlier, Cottonwood Center, is actually like for all their flakiness, it's a really good venue for a comedy. Like it's dark, it's a nice spot.
Yes and no.
It's better than. Well, let me rephrase. It's better than all the other venues I've randomly done in Colorado Springs, minus like the actual like Looney's is better.
Yeah, I mean, I want a place. I mean, we did public shows at Fox and Hound for a while, and that went pretty well. We were like sell out those shows on a regular basis.
Yeah.
But people could come in and get food and drinks and enjoy the show. And
we were also about to die most of the time. We to put this in perspective for you guys, we were performing on top of plywood set across multiple pool tables. So we're basically just like feel like we're about to fall to our death at any time or like break through the plywood.
Well, but there were certain things I liked about it. I mean, like I said, it has to say something that those shows, we sold out pretty much every one of those shows. And
you had amazing
brought thousands of dollars in revenue for those places.
That's awesome.
One of our shows, legitimately, just that room where we were doing our show that night brought in like $3,800 in sales, which is huge.
Yeah, that's huge. That's really big.
Yeah, it was averaging like a ridiculous amount of money per person. So, but yeah, I want a place that has a good stage and good presence and everything. But also, I think alcohol honestly is a big thing.
Yeah,
people want to have a drink and enjoy themselves and relax. So. It's just something that the Cottonwood does not have down. They went and picked up like 2 6-packs for a show, and then it ran out of beer, and everyone was like, "What the hell?" So there's some, plus, and you have to go through a maze to get to the. So there's a few different things, but so I don't know. So anyway, high school. So my English teacher in high school. Where were we?
So your English teacher in high school got you to this point. Like,
sure.
So you were talking about, are you going to go back and work on some stand-up and maybe get an act together and go out to LA?
It's definitely been, a thought, an idea. I've definitely been thinking about it. I'm planning on doing actually a trip out there later this summer and plan on doing some shows while I'm out there and visiting a couple people that are doing some great things out there and just I'm sure I'll have some inspiration and stuff and I'll get the bug and whatnot. So I'm kind of actually afraid to go back out there at this point because I feel like I'm gonna get that bug and just want to get back out there. But I also think there's a certain amount that I could do to start that process out here. I want to get back into stand-up. I want to start doing, shows in Denver and start getting,
Denver's got a really good stand-up scene from what I've seen.
It's a big hub. I mean, that's why I think the Springs hurts a lot too. Mm-hmm. Is Denver's such a big hub that they attract all that talent, I feel like if there was some way to connect some sort of network to where, and this might exist for all I know, but to where, if a person's coming in to headline a Friday and Saturday night at Comedy Works, that, they do a Thursday night show down here.
Oh, that'd be good.
What I mean?
Yeah.
That's just a little extra money in their pocket and great for us down here. But I don't feel like that exists, I feel it, especially like Friday and Saturday. So there's,
And there's enough stuff in Denver they don't need to drive down.
Yeah. But at the same time, too, like I said, why do people want to do these shows in Denver? Why do a stand-up comic down here can do some great shows and stuff? I'm not trying to nag on that at all, but why do you think so many comics would love to go and do shows up at Denver? What about the Comedy Works?
Because there's
the atmosphere,
rooms,
because of
there's
the
people.
experience, there's people. You know what I'm saying? So if you can create something like that down here, I think that'd be great. I think it'd be kind of tough, but at the same time, you could do it. But I think it needs all those legitimate factors like we talked about. You know what I mean? You're not going to be able to build, you know, a huge thing like that at some hookah lounge. You know what I mean? So that's definitely something I think could go well. But.
Cool. Well, what's left on your bucket list comedy-wise? Like, what do you really hope for? What would be...
I really want to take over this podcast called Colorado Comedy Cast.
Sure.
No, I'm just kidding. I would love to do like a podcast thing. I would love to get into radio. I'd like to dabble in a lot of different things. You know, I still have a strong passion for acting. You know, I'd love to do stuff like that. There's definitely a lot of things on my bucket list, man. I mean, stand-up, improv, corporate stuff.
Just do all of it.
That's what I'm saying. But I think I've got too much of that in my head. I need to kind of narrow and focus a little bit.
Which one do you pick right now? If you could pick one.
Man, I want to get back in stand-up like more on a regular basis for sure.
Okay, well, we should do a show, because I haven't done a show.
Can we do it in this room?
I mean,
let's create
invite,
that
like all the
atmosphere in this room,
spiders,
for sure.
328,000 of them, all named Frank.
Yeah, I bet you the spiders are very acoustic. You know?
They'll give like a lot of applause. 6 legs clapping, 2 legs just standing up.
Right? Yeah. Be like, I've never, you know, I've performed in front of a lot of people, but never 325,000. So
they were like,
people, so.
It was like Charlotte's Web up here. They're like, huzzah!
Yeah.
Good show!
Right? Seriously. But.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening. This is Colorado Comedy Cast. I'm Zach Harris.
And I'm Eric Zeis.
And
thanks so much for having me, man.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a lot of fun. Like seriously, I can't believe it's already over.
Yeah, I know.
Like I feel like we haven't started. I feel like if we had a list, we checked off like 1 and maybe 2.
I know. I was like, maybe I should go longer, but then was like, okay, we've done enough. We'll have you on a second time.
I was like, this is way too long of a podcast. Now here I am, and I'm like, can we do 4 hours?
Can we do Hey, thanks for coming, man.
No, man. Of course, this was a blast. Thanks so much.
Bye. Today's episode of Colorado Comedy Cast was brought to you by Zach's Discount Puddin'Packs.blogspot.com. Zach's Discount Puddin'Packs.blogspot.com for all your puddin' pack needs, or at least up to 30 or 40 of your puddin' pack needs, or however many packs are still left under my desk of your puddin' pack needs. Zach's Discount Puddin'Packs.blogspot.com. So good that we hired a discount slogan writer off of Fiverr, because we're vastly overconfident in our puddin'-related SEO abilities, and, air quotes, puddin' is good and stuff is now our bought and paid for tagline. And frankly, our investors are not pleased. Zach's Discount Puddin'Packs.blogspot.com